Hello and welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, I'm Cambria. If you have, thanks for coming back. So today I have decided that I'm going to start a new series, and it is going to be called Military Monday. And to start this series off, I thought, you know what? Let's just take it all the way back to the first day of transitioning from civilian to military life. And if you haven't been here before, I make videos about the Air Force Academy. I'm currently a sophomore or a 3 degree at the Air Force Academy, so living my best life. I made it through that basic training. I made it through recognition. Shout out to all the freshmen that just made it through recognition. Welcome to freedom, my friends. I also wanted to let you know, disclaimer, these are all my opinions. Some of the stuff might be out of order, like this was almost 2 years ago, and it was all kind of a blur when I was going through it too, so I'm gonna do my best and kind of like paint the picture of what your first day is gonna be like at the Air Force Academy. And little civilian me was shocked. Also, another disclaimer, this is not enlisted basic, this is not like your officer basic. What they do at the Air Force Academy is completely different. Like, they run things completely differently, so y'all can go ahead and go in the comments and be like, oh my god, this doesn't even sound hard, this doesn't even sound that bad. I've never been through other basics. It's obviously nothing like Marines or any of those, so I'm just gonna tell y'all my experience. My parents came out with me because they're like, oh my goodness, we wanna like drop our little girl off at college and it's gonna be so fun and so cute. And there I was, scared shitless to go anywhere near the Air Force Academy, because I was just like, oh my goodness, like I'd watch all the videos of basic training that were on YouTube, and I like couldn't find anyone sitting down like this, like actually talking through it, so I was just kind of going in and just blind, completely blind. So the night before, I stayed in a hotel with my parents. I had my little backpack with me with everything that they told me to pack. So pretty much like you pack a toothbrush, you pack your underwear, you pack some deodorant. I pack some band-aids for blisters and stuff. Highly suggest you do that, because they'll hand out band-aids, but sometimes you're not going to want to ask. You're just going to want to like go back to your room and just put some band-aids on with those blisters, because breaking in the boots is not fun. So yeah, hotel. Woke up the next day, went and got breakfast with my parents. The way the Air Force Academy does it is they have like, based off, I'm pretty sure it's your last name, or actually it's your basic squad. So I was Flying Tigers, go Flying Tigers. So they have like different squad names, and that determines like when you're going to like report to the academy. So mine was kind of later in the day, and also since I was recruited by the volleyball team, they try and have like the volleyball team enter in together. So you get there, ours, it kind of changes last year for the incoming freshmen, but for mine, they had it at Doolittle Hall, so like that's where you got on the bus. So if y'all have ever seen those bus videos, that's where I got on that bus. But pretty much you got there, I didn't even turn in my backpack. They like looked through my backpack really quick. I had to like hand in my papers, check in, got to kind of like talk with my family for a little bit, and they have like this little speech that they give you with your family. And like I was looking around at all the kids, and all of us were looking around at each other, and we're just like, what are we doing right now? And all of our families were sitting there like clapping like, oh my god, this is so fun. And we're just sitting there like, what are we getting ourselves into? And so yeah, then I just hugged my parents goodbye, just tried not to cry, because I was like, I'm not gonna be able to talk to them for a while. And yeah, then they just had us walk in the building. There was a few papers you signed, like you dropped off anything that was contraband in this box, and then you went out into line. And the whole time, like, you don't talk to anyone, you just kind of stand there, you just hold your bag in your left hand, and they give you your lanyard that has your name on it, has your squad on it, and then yeah, they put you on the bus. Sit down on the bus, you start to drive off, and they say like, wave goodbye to your parents, and I waved goodbye to my parents. And then as soon as you round that corner, it begins. The bus, you guys have probably seen scenes from the bus. Like, I honestly was like tuning everything out. I was just so like, oh my goodness, like just nervous for everything that I just tuned out. Like everything that they were telling me. So they're like, they give you the bus speech, they're yelling at you, they tell you your 7 basic responses. I'm sitting there like, 7 basic what? Like, I like didn't remember anything that they were telling me. Like, the kid I was sitting next to was literally shaking, and I was just like, oh my god. I'm like, this can't be this bad. Like, it's not gonna be that bad. But it's like going from a civilian world where I really never had anyone, like, other than my parents raise their voice at me. I was just kind of like, oh god. I was like, this is gonna be fun. So yeah, the bus takes us up to the academy because we were over here, and then the bus takes you up there, and we get to the footprints. Like, when you're going by the footprints, like, you're supposed to be sitting at attention, you're not really supposed to be like looking around, but I, you know, did my little peek out the window, saw all these Cadre with like their Ray-Bans and their little Cadre hat things, and I think they're called berets. I'm pretty sure they're called berets, so I don't know why I just called it a Cadre hat. But they're like lined up, looking, like staring at the bus, like we're about to eat you alive. So you get off the bus, and there's whistles and yelling, and they're like telling you to like run, but they're like, no, don't run, just walk quickly to the footprints. And then they have you stand at the footprints, they introduce themselves, and granted, like, the bus footprint part like goes in waves, so it's just you, like whoever's on your bus, and there's plenty of people that have gone before you. Unless you're the first group, then have fun with that. And yeah, and then they like introduce themselves, and they'll say like fall out and make corrections, and the Cadre, they fall around and they correct you. And at this point you're really not doing anything right, so they're just gonna kind of swarm on you and be like, fix your hands, fix your feet, what are the 7 basic responses? So if you don't know those and you're about to go into basic, I suggest that you just memorize those to begin with, because if you're not good at retaining information like very quickly, like me when I was sitting on the bus just like, what's going on? And they told me the 7 basic responses, then I got off the bus and they were asking them, and I was just like, what? I was just like, I froze. Eventually got them right. You do some PT. I'm pretty sure I just did push-ups the whole time, and then eventually like the next bus has to come in, so they send you off, and at this point you're like run walking with your bag. Also, don't bring a suitcase. Just don't bring a suitcase. Like, kids that brought suitcases were literally just like struggling because you can't roll the suitcase, you have to carry it, like, and they're struggling to like run walk up the ramp. So just bring a backpack with the stuff you really need. No need to bring your whole wardrobe, like you won't be able to wear it. So yeah, so we ran up the ramp. At this point everything was kind of chaotic. Like, I don't even remember what came next. I just remember that at some point like we got into a building, like I went and dropped my stuff off in my squad where I'd be staying for basic, and then they took us to this other area where you get shots, like you sign more papers. They like check your hair, so like girls, like you have to be able to like get your hair in a bun. So I put my hair up into a bun. They're like, okay, like you can go now. And then you eat lunch with like a group of like 7 or 8 people, so they just give you like sandwiches and stuff, and I ate lunch. And then I think I went back to my squadron after that and met my Cadre. So you have like, you're in a group, like the group that you're mainly with, like you're in a group of, I think ours was like, I had 30 kids in my squad, so whatever your basic group is, like those are the freshmen that you're going to be living with and during the academic year. So like literally the first week I didn't know any of their names. Like, you just don't look around. Like when you're at attention, like you literally just look forward. So I knew the kid that was directly in front of me, the kids right next to me, and I knew the kids that were like in my peripheral vision. But other than that, like the other 25 kids, no clue, like never looked at them. And we go back up to the squadron, our Cadre, so you have your basic Cadre who will once again be in your squad once, like during the academic year, and they're the ones that are in charge of training you. So you're gonna have 2 different sets. Like you have one set for the first 3 weeks when you're actually at the academy, and then when you switch over to Jax, you'll get like a new wave of Cadre. So yeah, it's fun. And they introduce themselves. They say like, know our names, and then they walk around and we do more PT. And this is just all the first day, so granted I'm just kind of like going with the flow, trying to memorize their names right away. They like give you a few, I don't even know if they gave us any quotes. I think they gave us like 1 quote the first day that you had to memorize, and at first like you're saying quotes as a group, but throughout basic, like they can go up to you and ask you like, what's this quote, what's this plane, what does this plane do, what does this do? And so yeah, that's fun. You'll get used to it. sure if you're going to the academy, like, you're relatively good at memorizing things, so yeah. So after that, I don't even remember like when they took our phones. So you don't have your phone at all during basic. Like, the only way that you're gonna be able to talk to people is through letters. So they took our phones eventually. I'm pretty sure we just like handed them in like the first time we went into squad. Like, my phone was just in a plastic baggie, and then they go lock them away for the next 6 weeks. So don't have your phone, you're learning people's names, you're running around, everyone's yelling. Pretty sure we just did some PT until the end of the day. Like, on the first day you have your like swearing in ceremony, and they also like, I'm trying to think what else happens. I don't remember if this is the first day or the second day, but you have like your first parade pretty much, and it honestly might be the first day because I remember a lot of parents were still there, and like the parents are all sitting in the stands, and they take you down to the parade, and they like march you around, and they like introduce your squadron and stuff as you're marching. And I just remember the first day, like, literally it was just like learning people's names and learning how to march. So people that were from the prep school or prior enlisted, like, they already know how to march. So if you know how to march, good for you. Someone like me that just came right out of high school, had no clue how to march, like, I got the hang of it eventually, but the first like few weeks you're literally just learning all the different marches and like what a cadence is, and like what foot to step off on, and like how to make left turns and how to make right turns, and you're like marching in a group, so you're just like marching in a pack and you're just, you know, going places. During basic they march you everywhere, you don't get to walk on your own, so learning how to march is important. So yeah, either first or second day you have the parade, the swearing in ceremony. So at that point, like, you have your little camelback that they give you and you see in all the pictures. You have your hat, so like I had my little silver hat, and yeah, so you do your swearing in ceremony. Like, that was a really cool part of it. Like, that's when, you know, you're officially like, okay, like, I'm in the military, like, dedicating myself to Air Force. After that, pretty sure we went to dinner, and meals are just a whole different story. Like, maybe next week we'll go through meal story time, but those are interesting to say the least. And yeah, then your basic experience begins. Like, the first day is just kind of like an initial like, oh my god, like, this is kind of shocking. But after a while, like, you get into the hang of it, you get into the groove of the wake ups and just waking up to people banging on your doors and having to get dressed quickly and having to memorize things quickly and learning how to help other people through the suck. Like, at the end of the day, like, basic is teaching you how to work as a team, how to think on your toes, react quickly, like, stuff like that, how to deal with stress and also bring people out of the stress with you. So it's a really cool experience. I mean, it sucks, but you get through it, and I honestly learned a lot, and I learned that I was able to do a lot of things, and I learned that people are, at the end of the day, like, the one thing I love about the Air Force is like people are so good at helping each other just because they know what it's like to go through it. So yeah, that's awesome. It's a cool thing you learn how to do. That is my first day story time. Once again, these are my opinions. This is how I remember it happening. I probably left a lot of stuff out because it's been a long time and I was pretty much in shock all the first day. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy listening to me talk about my Air Force Academy experience, I have a bunch of other videos about the Air Force Academy. I'll link them down below. You can go check them out. I have like a day in life, like what you're gonna expect. I have a morning routine. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like me, subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And thanks for watching.